Welcome to Infidelity Truths. Before we dive into today's gripping story, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more thrilling stories just for you. Let's begin. I never imagined I would be telling this story. In fact, if someone had told me years ago that I would be sitting here reflecting on the choices I made, I wouldn't have believed them. I was the kind of woman who believed in loyalty, in commitment, in standing by the vows I had taken. I had built my life around those values, convinced that love and trust were enough to keep a marriage strong. But life has a way of unraveling the things you hold dear. Sometimes so slowly that you don't even notice until everything has changed. I met Ethan when I was 23, and he was everything I had ever wanted. He was charming, intelligent, and had this quiet confidence about him that made me feel safe. We fell in love fast, the way people do when they're young and believe in fairy tales. I remember how he used to look at me in those early years like I was the only person in the world who mattered. It felt like we could conquer anything together. Our wedding was small but beautiful, surrounded by the people we loved most. We had dreams, so many dreams. We wanted to travel, to build a home, to create a life filled with laughter and joy. And for a while, that's exactly what we did. We moved into a cozy house, worked hard to build our future, and eventually had 2 beautiful children. Our life was full, busy, and on the surface, everything seemed perfect. But perfection is often an illusion. Somewhere along the way, things started to shift. At first, it was subtle, little things that didn't seem important. Ethan became more focused on work, spending long hours at the office, always chasing the next promotion. I understood, of course. He wanted to provide for us, to give us the best life possible. But as the years passed, it felt like I became just another part of the routine, like a piece of furniture in our home, always there, always necessary, but never really noticed. I tried to talk to him about it. I told him that I missed us, that I missed the way we used to be. He would listen, nod, and promise that things would change, but they never did. The conversations would fade, life would continue, and I would find myself back in the same lonely place. I convinced myself that this was normal, that after years of marriage, passion fades and routine takes over, that this was just the way things were, but deep down I felt like something inside me was slowly disappearing. I'd spent so much time being a wife and a mother that I had forgotten who I was outside of those roles. And then I met Liam. It wasn't supposed to mean anything. He was just a friend of a friend, someone I had met at a community event. He was warm, easy to talk to, and had this way of making people feel comfortable. We exchanged polite conversations, nothing more. But looking back, I realize now that it started in those small moments, those little interactions that seemed harmless but held the power to change everything. Liam was different from Ethan in ways I didn't even know I needed. He was present. He listened. Not just out of obligation, but because he genuinely cared. He asked about my day, my thoughts, my dreams. He noticed when I changed my hairstyle, when I wore a new dress, when I was feeling off. It had been so long since someone had paid that kind of attention to me that I didn't even know how to react at first. I told myself that it was just friendship, that I was simply enjoying a connection that had been missing from my life. But as time went on, I found myself looking forward to our conversations a little too much. I would catch myself smiling when I saw his name pop up on my phone. I would linger a little longer than necessary when we talked, as if holding on to something I knew I shouldn't. The guilt was always there, hovering in the background like a shadow. I wasn't doing anything wrong, not really. But I also knew that if I had to hide something from Ethan, then maybe it wasn't as innocent as I wanted to believe. One evening, I sat in my car outside our house, my hands gripping the steering wheel. I had just spent over an hour talking to Liam, and my heart was still racing from the conversation. We had laughed, shared stories, and for the first time in a long time, I had felt like myself again. I took a deep breath and walked inside, trying to push the feeling away. "Hey," I said, forcing a smile. "Hey," he muttered, not even glancing in my direction. "Dinner ready?" I felt something inside me sink. It was such a small thing, such a casual question, but in that moment, it hit me how far apart we had grown. I wanted to tell him about my day. I wanted to sit beside him to talk the way we used to. But I knew how the conversation would go. He would nod, distracted, and I would feel like I was talking to a wall. So instead, I just nodded. Yeah, I'll warm it up. That night, as I lay in bed beside him, I stared at the ceiling, wide awake. I thought about Liam. I thought about the way he listened, the way he made me feel like I mattered. And for the first time, I let myself admit the truth. I was at a crossroads. One path led back to my life as it was, predictable, safe, but empty in ways I could no longer ignore. The other path was unknown, filled with risks and uncertainty, but it was also filled with something else, something I hadn't felt in years. I told myself I could stop, that I had control, that this was just a fleeting feeling, nothing more. But I was lying to myself. The next time I saw Liam, I didn't pull away when he reached for my hand. I didn't stop myself from leaning in when he spoke. And in that moment, everything changed. Thank you so much for watching this story. Your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps more than you know. I truly appreciate every single one of you for being part of this journey. Let me know in the comments what you think about the story, and stay tuned for more amazing content. See you in the next one.